Back to Iguodala. Up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection. Portland has 3 timeouts left. The Lakers have 2. Bryant to shot. A chance to send the Thunder home. Lillard, long range 3.
So, normally I do like the what's up, everybody, welcome to the show, but I feel like I just got this text message and I have to read it to you guys because right now we're recording this at halftime of the Cavaliers-Knicks game 2, where the Cavaliers are up 20. Darius Garland has 26 points, mind you. He is balling out of his mind. And I get a text from my wife's uncle. They're all Cleveland fans. Garland needs to quit committing turnovers. He has 2.
That's a man who's afraid of losing.
That is a man. We've all been there before. Don't act like we haven't. We've all been like DeMar DeRozan shoots the ball too much. You're like, oh, he's 80% from the field. He's got 38 points. We're up 15. You're like, but no, he's just doing like we've all been there. All we're trying to do is preserve the win out that month. Like we ain't trying to jinx nothing.
Did you see Mobley's dunk? Oh my God.
I missed that. No, I missed it.
Whew. He has not been very good these first 2 games, but that's for a conversation for later in the show. So welcome to this week's edition of the 48 Minutes Basketball Network, as we are finally in the first round of the playoffs. I think we did pretty well overall on our picks for the play-in. We got 3 of the 4 teams right, so that was decent. We're probably more confident in the Bulls than we should have been, but hey, the comeback by down 20 in the one game and then almost win the other until Jimmy Butler turned into Jimmy Butler.
Mm-hmm.
You can live with that.
We were right there.
But we called Jimmy Butler being Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, Jimmy's always going to be Jimmy against the teams that did him wrong or he perceived to do him wrong. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So I think we can go ahead and close the chapter and say that Jimmy Butler won the trade. Not the Timberwolves, not the Sixers, not Zach LaVine, not the Bulls. Jimmy Butler. Yeah. So we'll go with that. But hey, guys, let's what's up, everybody? Tim Dandu here with Sean Mackey, Ben Brown, and of course Joshua Odellis, Forellis, Montezelis, Overzealous, Monte Ellis, Hayes.
Oh, you ain't got Monte Ellis in there, did you? Nice.
I like that.
Yeah. Sorry to steal your gimmick, Ben.
No, it's all good.
All good. I wanted to make sure we preserved as much time as possible to talk about the first round so far. And as we're recording, this is like I mentioned, we're in the middle of the Cavs game. And the Celtics are up 8 on the Hawks with about 9 minutes left in that game. And Jason Tatum is going crazy with 24 points, 8 rebounds.
Was he the one who hit the half-court shot?
I didn't see the half-court shot.
Okay. Someone hit one. I just saw it scrolling through Twitter. So yeah, that series is done.
Yeah.
You calling it already, Sean? Is that like that's it? Like
yeah.
You got no love in Trey. You got no faith in Trae Young. Like
I think Trey's on his way out. I think the Hawks are. I think they're finally looking inward and they're thinking to themselves, maybe it's this guy.
The Hawks are playing him like he's on his way out. So they are, like I said, there's 8.5 minutes to go. They're down 99-88 right now. Trae Young has played a total of 25 minutes with 8 minutes to go in the game. Yeah. Granted, DeJounte Murray, 24, 4 and 4. He's been pretty good on 6 of 11 from 3. But I feel like it's over.
I feel like I was so wrong about the pairing of those two. Like I really thought that he was gonna really help that team out, and it's not that it's DeJounte Murray's fault. It's not his fault. That team's just dumb. It's a dumb assembly of players. It's like Chicago. It's very, very, they're in a very similar bucket. them, but probably have better draft prospects coming up.
Yeah, I definitely felt that same way, Sean. It's always good when you can pair superstars together that you think would, you're thinking, okay, get a little bit of pressure off of Trae Young. You still have John Collins. You got Hunter. You got Clint Capella. I mean, it's an okay roster, but for some odd reason, like it just didn't work. And of course Nate McMillan took the fall for all of that, but for some reason, like it's like you said, it's just clunky and weird and awkward, and the front office front office is not happy with the players aren't happy with the front office. Like, it's just not good.
Well, Atlanta, at least go ahead.
As crazy as it sounds, I mean, other than the fact that you take away, he's getting less shots on the floor because he's playing with a guy like Trae Young, like his numbers are pretty comparable to last year.
Absolutely.
In some aspects, he's even better than he was last year. Like, he's a little more efficient from the floor. So, like, again, when he was in San Antonio, we were like, man, this guy has a chance to be all world. And then now it's kind of like he's taking a co-host, side, almost like he's like a Robin and Robin type duo, and neither one of them's really the Batman. Neither one of them's really the Batman. And I kind of would like to see him just take over and be like, you know what, just give me the effing team, man. It's mine. Let's roll.
Well, I think that's where they're leaning towards. Because if you're Atlanta and you want to get rid of Trae Young, you're able to. I mean, he is, as much as people complain about his style of play and all the things, there's a lot of teams that would love to have him. And would benefit from having a Trae Young. So you do have a lot of you've got a lot of stock in him, and people will buy a lot of stock in him and give you assets for it. So
yeah, they're definitely going to get something in return for him.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Teams are going to talk themselves into Trae Young.
Oh, absolutely.
You mean like in Chicago?
It's going to happen in Chicago. That's exactly what I was going at, Tim. You knew it. You knew where I was going.
Yeah, Trae Young's going to be a Bull next year, and Derrick Rose is going to sign back with the Bulls in the offseason. I'm telling you, this will happen.
Here it is. Today, April 18, 2023. Tim's calling it.
Yeah. Derrick Rose was almost traded to the Bulls for Zach LaVine at the deadline when that Knicks deal was coming up. He was supposed to be part of the deal. So, yeah, it's happening. Just accept it.
Oh, my gosh.
It's going to happen. Maybe it's like he'll retire, like besides a one-day contract and retire as a Bull, but one way or another, he will be donning a Bulls jersey next season.
I mean, here's the other thing. They're in kind of a very similar situation as Chicago, too, because they have a competent coach. They have Quinn Snyder now, who I really like.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's a really good coach. And I don't know why he took that dumb job, but, he's a really good coach. And he's going to have at least one good player to work with if they get rid of Trae Young, and they're going to get something back in return, whether that's a package of draft picks or, a young stud or a Zach LaVine or whatever, or please, no. Please, God, no, please, no. Woof.
Because I don't think Kyrie's going to be back in Dallas. I think they're going to really regret that trade. Especially if Luka is as mad as they're saying he is, and he requests a trade. Oh boy.
Well, now you're back to square one, right? Like in Dallas, like you lose Kyrie, you lost all those pieces that you used to get him, and now you're back to square one with Luka and Luka. You know what I mean? Like you're back to square one. So I don't know.
The Dallas Mavericks have a sign-in trade for Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers for D'Angelo Russell. Is going to be a Woj tweet in August.
That's crazy.
Oh gosh.
As much as I'm excited about the NBA playoff start. I'm sure that people don't want to hear us talking about the Hawks that much longer.
Yeah, I agree.
I do want to give a shout out though. These last few games, man, Derek White has like really stepped up and kind of feel like he's like, you know what, like if these other guys fall, like I can kind of take the load on myself if need be. Man, he's been shooting the lights out, like absolutely really killing it.
Mm-hmm. you know, like I've said a million times, obviously we know how I feel about the Boston Celtics. But if that roster was wearing any other jersey, I would love that team. I would absolutely love it because that roster is tremendous. It just so happens they wear green and white and play at TD Garden. If they were like the Indiana Pacers, I would be like, this team's awesome. Let's go, let's check them out. Like, you know what I mean? Like if they were the Houston Rockets, I'd still be like, this is great. Like they're fun to watch.
But since you signed the blood oath to always hate the Boston Celtics,
right?
You can't
handle
in
blood.
Yeah. He's like, they're my sworn enemies. I'm sorry.
Bob Cousy was overrated. Dave Cowens wasn't that great. Robert Parrish probably would have been much better on another team.
Oh my gosh!
Here you are going in on Cousy again.
There it is. Oh my gosh! Now we're gonna have Celtics people tweeting at us, hating on us.
Good.
He doesn't understand the Celtics history and tradition. You're just a hater. You see all those banners we hung back in '87?
Tim's like plumbers.
Yeah. Milkman. Yeah, Cousy. It must have been really hard. It must have been really hard with Bill Russell to run the pick and roll against this newspaper guy. Like, right. Come on. That's like the guy. Yeah. All joking aside.
Oh man.
Let's kind of go a little bit series by series. So yeah, like Josh said, that Boston team's like Derek White stepped up really well. They're up to a 12-point lead now. And
that's a sweep.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a sweep.
Yeah.
So I think that's a sweep, and I think Philly Brooklyn's a sweep. But I'm gonna say this, and I know it's gonna sound crazy because Philly's won both games by like good chunks. I've actually kind of been content with how Brooklyn's played. I just feel like Philly's just much better than them.
No, I would agree with that, Tim. I think the Nets are maxed out at where they're playing. Like they definitely maxed out their potential. They maxed out what they are as a team. It's not that they're playing bad, man, but that Philly team is on a mission. Regardless of Doc Rivers.
Just imagine if they could get Ben Simmons on the floor.
Yeah, they'd be losing by more, right?
Right, exactly.
Right? It's not like he wouldn't have fouled out already.
Right. So I just think that Philly team's on a mission, man. It's not that Brooklyn's playing bad, but Joel Embiid still feels slighted because he doesn't think he's going to win the MVP. James Harden's been called fat, lazy, doesn't want to play hard. He's playing with an edge. Tobias Harris has always been solid. I mean, they've got good players. Tyrese Maxey is a dog. So I mean, yeah. So I just think they're just playing they got better players and they're playing at a higher level.
Well, Tyrese Maxey had like one of the best games of his career last night. I mean, he had 33 points, 3 rebounds. He played 40 minutes of that game. And he looked like the best player on the floor the entire game. Like he was great. And this is one of those teams now where the 76ers, they are a team that is completely on a mission and they're taking care of business. And this is what you expect them to do right now too. Yeah. This isn't like, I don't want to see a team like them slack off. They need to be that team that just digs in and says, you know what? We're on a mission this year. Joel's pissed. I mean, Harden did not have a good game last night.
No, he didn't play well.
Yeah, like he has not been great, but the production that you're getting out of Maxey right now almost makes up for it. But I think both of those, it's going to be a sweep, and it's not the Nets' fault. I mean, the fact that they actually made the playoffs and everything is huge this year for that organization, and I like everything that they've done. They've just had it's been a crazy year for the Nets. Just an absolutely crazy year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You got to think even with the moves they made that they're probably even if they're going to get swept in this playoff series, the morale in that locker room is probably a million times better than it was in February. Absolutely. Those guys are probably like, I like going to work. I like my bosses. Like, no,
that's a fact. That's an absolute fact.
And it looks like they, I think we can all kind of say we all have sung the praises of Mikal Bridges for a few years now. We've all really liked him. I think he's a really good player. I I think he's an all-star next year. The way he is he's really shown up. And even though they've lost these 2 games, he has been really good. Cameron Johnson was really good last night too. Without those 2, they don't have a shot in that game.
Yeah, well, I think it gives you some, like you said, Tim, it gives you some building blocks. I mean, they've been through a lot. You thought your team was going to be one thing. It's completely different now. But at least you've got some building blocks. Like Bridges has been incredible. He's only going to get better. You still have Nick Claxton there. You still have Cam Johnson there. Like you've had some pieces to build around where you can build a competitive team without, dumping all of your salaries into a Kyrie Irving, a Kevin Durant. You can now build and grow your team. So they're going to get swept, which stinks, but you're in a better position now than you were in February.
Yeah. And they're scrappy as hell. So
mm-hmm.
They're going to be the one team that's like, we can't sign anybody because we had to buy out Ben Simmons, but we couldn't be happier. They're going to be like, all right, dude, like, here's your check. Just get out of here. Clear your locker. We don't want to see you again. Yeah. And then when he's playing in Australia next year, they're going to be like, oh, thank God, that's not our problem.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go conference by conference. And then because I really want to get into Sacramento, but I want that to be like the big conversation. I want that to be like our main event tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked Cleveland already. I think overall in that game, I know they're up big right now, but I do worry about when they go to the Garden. I do not know if they have enough guys. And I've sang their praises all year. We've talked about this a million times now. I don't know if they're deep enough. They might. I'm not saying they can't. I still think they beat the Knicks, but I do have worries about that because if you look at tonight, for example, like Danny Green, who they got on a buyout, who I love, by the way, is a really, really, really solid career NBA player, is getting minutes tonight, and he barely played after the buyout they got him. Mm-hmm. So, Karis, they're really 60. They play Jetty.
We had this conversation earlier on in the year, and we thought they specifically made moves to have certain guys on that playoff roster, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wade gave them big minutes, when he was healthy, not playing tonight so far. Lopez hasn't played. Rubio hasn't. These are guys who have experience in the playoffs, right. And you would think that at some point they would use them, and they've not yet. Not saying they won't. I'm just saying they have not yet.
Right. And we're not ignoring the fact that they're up 23 right now in this game. We're not trying to discourage anything with them whatsoever. But, if they get through this series, which I still think they're better than the Knicks, even though they probably only have about 7, 8 guys they can play. When they get to that next series, whether it's Miami or Milwaukee, which we'll get into next with all the stuff going on there, I do kind of worry about, talking about anyone's depth versus Milwaukee is not fair. That's not even a conversation, but it's kind of and look, if the Cavs win this series and that's it, this is a totally successful year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you need to do from here. Just get bench guys, get role guys who can fill their spots. And there's going to be a lot of those guys in free agency, and they're on a ton of rookie contracts besides Mitchell.
I was going to say they got a ton of cap room, right?
Yeah. Besides Mitchell, Garland, Allen.
In game 1, they went across the board with their starters. They went 44 minutes for Mitchell, 43 for Garland, 43 for Allen, 38 for Mobley. And then Okoro only played 23. And then the bench guys, nobody had 20 minutes. And they did, Wade and Rubio play, but it was combined. I think they played 12 or 13 minutes. It wasn't much. So they're counting on that 5 and maybe 1 or 2 guys off the bench to –
mm-hmm.
As you get deeper into the playoffs, you can't do that.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You're right. And especially in game 1 down the stretch, when they take the lead, it looks like they might be able to run away with it. They make this decision, and this has been driving me crazy for when they play Saturday. So 3 days now. I'm just really annoyed. And you guys know where I'm going with this because I texted to you probably in all caps. Where Jetty Osman down the stretch is guarding Jalen Brunson in isolation, getting no help. And Jalen Brunson is that's barbecue chicken for him.
Cooking.
Absolutely.
He's cooking, no doubt.
And no one's helping on the backside. No one's switching off him. JB is they go into a timeout And I'm thinking like, okay, they're gonna make the adjustment. They're gonna put Mitchell on Brunson. Like that's gonna be the matchup. Nope. They come right back out and Jetty's still on, and I'm like, what? It's like, what are you doing? Like, you just lost home court advantage because you lost this game. So,
well, they've made adjustments today, obviously. So
yes, they have.
I think they're gonna be fine. I think. I mean, obviously, it's going to be different when they get over to New York, but this is going to be a series that it could definitely go 7 games. It wouldn't shock me at all. I think it might.
I hope it does.
They're both really, really good teams, but it's gonna that's. I feel like this series is probably going to be the closest out of any of them.
I agree.
Would you guys agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun series. I think when you get to the Garden, it's going to be so electric. It's going to be so loud.
Yeah, but so is Donovan Mitchell. Like,
I know.
Donovan Mitchell's going to go there. And he's going to be like, F y'all. This is it. I'm taking the sport, which is what most people do when they play there that, aren't the Knicks.
At the Mecca, baby. Absolutely.
I kind of feel like when they get to the Gardens, like D Mitchell's going to take that tweet from Josh Hart personal.
Yeah.
And, and then we're going to see an all-time great performance.
Oh, damn well Donovan Mitchell's going to have a "you guys could have had me" game. Like, he's damn well going to be like, you had every chance to get me, and I'm going to
due for one anyway.
Yeah, like, well, he was great in game 1. Oh my God, some of the shots he was making in game 1.
Yeah, he was incredible.
Yeah, and tonight he doesn't have to be very good. He could just like keep his energy for game 3. So, kudos, man. I'm with Sean. I think this is going to be one of those series that goes very deep, 6 or 7 games. It's going to be a lot of fun. Other series in the East. So obviously tomorrow we've got game 2 of the Miami-Milwaukee series. Obviously a lot of this depends on, have they given any update? I suspect that Giannis will play tomorrow, but have they confirmed or denied?
All I heard was that they were optimistic about him playing.
Oh, he'll be in. Yeah,
he's coming back. There's no doubt.
Yeah. But at that same point, you got to give Miami credit for, I understand Giannis was hurt and that changes everything, but man, that's the thing about this freaking Miami Heat teams that we talk about every year is like, they do not care who is on the floor with them.
Nope.
They are going to take everything they can from you. And they were awesome. And, especially considering Tyler Hero broke his hand on that play dime for that ball, and they still managed to win the way they did. I still think Milwaukee wins the series by all means, but I'm very impressed with how Miami played.
One of the things that surprised me about the start of this series is that, and I know Giannis was out, but you had a guy who potentially was in the running for Defensive Player of the Year in Lopez, right? And Miami is the lowest scoring team in the NBA. And the Bucks have a top 3 or top 4 defense in the league. And Miami puts 130 on their head, on the road. And they're doing it with like random, like Kevin Love, decided to be playoff K Love, right? Come out knocking out 4 threes. And we don't even need to speak about Jimmy Butler, and Bam had a decent game. Vincent and some of those guys, like they all like Truss, like they hit some big shots. And then I'm sure you all saw the play where Hero went and he dove for the ball and he broke his hand. And then came down and they threw the ball to him in the corner and he took a shot. And the way the camera angle was angled, my son and I were sitting here watching. I was like, he made that. And he really like hit the side and it went down and somebody caught it and shot it for a layup and it went in. But I'm like, that's a kind of a big blow for them to lose him because
it is.
Let's say that they even make it to the finals. Like he's not coming back probably.
No, they're done.
No.
Yeah, he's done.
So who steps up in place of him? Now that and I saw Duncan Robinson came in and knocked down a big shot, but I'm like, can he really replace Tyler Hero?
Nope.
No. I don't think there's any replacing Tyler Hero. Just like too, though, I think that when Giannis went down, I think it took the sails out of everybody.
Sure.
So the Bucks giving up 130 points is an anomaly. I think Giannis is a huge part of what they do defensively. So, not saying that he's going to stop Jimmy Butler, but, if you have him on Butler, or Bam Adebayo. Like, it just changes what they do defensively with him not on the floor. So, will they keep scoring 130 points? I mean, I'm not going to say they're not, but I think that defensively the Bucks will be better when Giannis is on the floor more.
I mean, a plus. I was going to say, just real quick, a plus of that though was Middleton looked like himself. He looked healthy. He looked prime, ready to go. So that was a big ups for Milwaukee, like being able to see that.
Yeah, that was huge.
Yep. But I think that once Giannis plays, they have him listed as doubtful actually, but I think he plays.
That don't mean anything.
Yeah,
right. That's what I say. I think he plays. They have Kyle Lowry down as doubtful too. He'll play. So I mean,
Cat and Gobert were listed as doubtful for the game the other day, and they both played. So
right. So yeah,
didn't matter.
It did not matter.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned Gabe Vincent, Josh. I love that guy. Like, that guy could play on any team in the league. Like, he is just perfect for what he does. He's kind of like the Bruce Bowen, where it's like you just plug him in somewhere and your team's going to be fine because you can count on him.
They always find these guys who don't get drafted, and they like get them on their
Caleb
team.
Martin. Which Martin do they have? Caleb or Cody? Cody's in Philly.
They have Caleb.
I get them mixed up.
They have Caleb.
They have Caleb.
I get them mixed up all the time. I always say the wrong one. I feel like Stephen A. Smith.
That's funny.
I do have one request for the Bucks. I got one request for the Bucks, and I would have done it the entire game until it didn't work anymore. But like, give Bobby Portis the ball, man.
Yeah,
give Portis the ball. Let me see them big eyes running around like this, all crazy. And, I mean, dude, he was absolutely cooking, and he's an energy guy, man. Like he brings the noise when he's in the game, and like. He was doing whatever he wanted in the paint. Like they couldn't guard him. And I was like, 15 shots ain't enough. Like give him more. Like let him have the ball more. Because he was cooking.
Yes. Yeah, especially since Giannis was out. I mean, that's kind of, I think that's one of their options. One of their better options, especially the other night, because he was, like you said, Josh, he was 9 of 15 from the field and it's scoring paint points. So, hopefully they, I think, like I said, I think Giannis will play. I think Bobby Portis will be a big part of that. And, I mean, Middleton was incredible the other night, but
they won't shoot that bad from three anymore.
No.
They did either. They were.
Can you imagine if Miami does somehow win this game and they go to South Beach up 2-0?
I know.
And they're like 45,000 fans that show up in the third quarter are going to be so loud.
I was going to say their stadium will be halfway full when it starts.
Yeah.
They'll start waving people in from the streets at that point. Hey, we might win this thing.
We might win this game. You want to come in and watch?
The greatest thing in all time is, of course, the infamous Ray Allen shot. Is when you see all the Miami Heat fans leaving, and then Allen hits the shot, and you see all of them trying to run back into the arena.
Mm-hmm.
They're a terrible fan base. They are the most fair weather.
They do not deserve that franchise.
No, they don't. They really don't.
I mean, Ben,
they really don't.
We were sitting at dinner the other night. You saw Ben. He showed us the picture and the text of his boy. Like said he went on a cruise and literally got off the boat and went to the playing game.
He literally walked off the boat
and was sitting like 10 rows back on the lower level.
Yeah, he literally walked off the boat and was like, "Hey," he's like, "I think I want to go to a Heat game." He's like. Walked up, he's like, "Oh, surely it'll be sold out." They're like, "Nah, we're good. Come on, get you some tickets." He was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, come on in." Matter of fact, you can sit 10 rows back behind the goal. He's like, "Word?" He's like, "Yeah." All right.
Say less.
Say less. Let's get it.
I often wonder that really rich-looking white lady who flipped off Joakim Noah years ago. Like, I wonder if she's ever attended another Heat game.
No.
Nope.
That was I was drunk. I hate you right now.
Yep.
And I don't even remember it.
Yep.
Barb from accounting showed up. Somebody got her a ticket. She went drinking at the bar before the game. She happened to get mad and flip a couple birds to old Joakim Noah. She's never been back since. Nobody's ever invited her back. She's probably not even watched another Miami Heat game.
Yeah.
No,
when the Heat went to the bubble final.
Joakim Noah. She wouldn't even recognize Joakim Noah on TV if she saw him, or if he even walked up to her.
Not a chance.
When the Heat played in the bubble finals and people were like, "Aren't you worried about no fans?" They were like, "Nah, we're used to this."
No, exactly. This is what we do.
He's like,
here.
He's like, every game's a home game to us.
Right. Yeah, this is what we do. We play every game in a bubble.
Advantage up in this piece.
We play every game in a bubble. What are y'all talking about?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, let's get to the West real quick. And let's just start from the beginning because we can just get to this series very quick because obviously it's not going to matter. Denver's going to beat Minnesota in 4. Minnesota sucks. All right, that's anyone on any of your rebuttals?
No
Very
rebuttals.
nice.
Let's go. Next series.
All right. But the other ones are worth talking about. So we are recording tonight before Clippers Suns.
Mhm.
And, that game 1 was
Mhm.
awesome. Was so good. Shout out Russell Westbrook for
Bro.
being awful
absolutely.
most of the game and then sealing it towards the end there. But
he was never awful during the game at all. He just wasn't making shots. Everything else he was doing fantastic.
that's fair. Yeah, I'll give you that. But obviously this game starts and ends with Kawhi Leonard, and holy crap, Kawhi Leonard being Kawhi Leonard again. 38 points, 5 and 5, 3 of 5 from 3, 9 of 10 from the line, 41 minutes played, 3 turnovers. He was awesome. He was so good.
Are we missing the boat here?
That's the one take. That's the one take against all of us that I'm proud of, is that you guys were out on Kawhi, and I told you that when he was healthy, he was going to be back, and we were going to see the old him. I just didn't know when it was going to be, and here it is.
They saved it up until the very last game.
I'm like, do we have it wrong? So to only play 40 games in a season, are we is that the way to go now? You play half the season, then play 42 minutes in the playoffs?
Don't say that. Don't say that. We don't need any more load management. We don't need to have this same conversation for the next 20 years of the show. We don't need to do it.
I mean, here we're at. This is where we're at. Kawhi was incredible.
Your all's love for basketball had to be a little tingly to see Kawhi be himself.
Sure.
Just be out
absolutely.
there.
Loved it.
Oh, yeah.
Loved it.
Even
He
if
was
it is for that
incredible.
shitty jersey, that shitty team he's playing for, it was great to see him ball out.
Now, I will tell you one of the things that bothered me in the game. So obviously you guys know how much my love is for KD. Right now, he's my favorite player in the league. Anytime
He's a bomb.
I watch him play, yeah, he is. But
What a bum.
the things we always talk about him, which makes him so great, also I think was the curse of why they lost, is because the second half of that game, the third quarter, he took no shots, and he was out there, he was dishing the ball, and he was great. I think he was a rebound away from a triple double, but no shots in the third quarter. And then he didn't take a shot in the fourth quarter until there was 5 minutes left in the game, and they ran a play for him, and he comes off a screen and hits a 3 from the break, and it was just wow. And then I think he only had one more shot the whole entire quarter, and that was it. And I'm we are talking about the premier scorer who can shoot from anywhere on the floor at any given time, and you're still running the ball through Devin Booker. And I was as much as I love Devin Booker, in that time of a game, KD should be the one getting the shot, not Devin Booker. And I know it's his team, but I'm he's proved it time and time again. You need me to hit a shot at this time, I will do it. And no.
I think the one big thing that really jumped out to me the most in this game, in that first game, and look, this is not me sliding the Clippers here for once in history, is that some box scores do lie to you at times. So you look at the game, if you didn't watch it, you're oh, DeAndre Ayton had 18 and 8. That's solid. He was terrible down the stretch. Was terrible. They were hunting him when the Clippers were in the half court. They were making sure they knew where he was at all times to run their sets. And you certainly see, I love DeAndre Ayton. I really do. I'm higher on him than most. But there are definitely times when you're oh, I see why you guys were so hesitant to give him that deal. And I see why people are so irritated with him and why he got benched at times last year in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that, especially in this team. Like for everything the Clippers have, and they have a lot. We talk about it all year with their how deep they are, with how many role players they have. DeAndre Ayton should be destroying Zubac. He should be taking balls from him off the glass. He should be putting moves on him in the post. He should not be letting Zubac take things from him. I mean, Zubac had 15 rebounds. He's a very good rebounder. I'm not slighting him. And Mason Plumlee off the bench at 11 rebounds. Again, I'm not slighting those guys. But these are like the matchups where DeAndre Ayton should be like, this is barbecue chicken. I got you. And he doesn't do it.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe Zubac is a lot better than we give him credit for.
I just gave him credit. You heard me. I said I'm not
maybe he's
him.
even better than that.
It's definitely more. DeAndre Ayton has not lived up to expectations. That's where Tim's going right here.
No, yeah, and that's not a slight on. Like I said, it's not a slight on those guys, but like it. In order to match a number and bring a guy back, like DeAndre Ayton, because he was going to be a pacer, and you said, no, we're going to match the number and bring you back to the fold. You bring him back to dominate guys like that in the playoffs. To be a guy that I can say I can write it down, you're 22-13. Like, that's why we bring you back. Now, regardless of Devin Booker, Chris Paul, Kevin Durant, regardless of the fact, when you get matchups like that, and like Tim said, this isn't a slight on Plumlee. It's not a slight on Zubac. I think both of them guys played really well, are physical, but you can't tell me they're as talented as DeAndre Ayton. You can't tell me that in a stretch where you need DeAndre Ayton to be DeAndre Ayton, that he can't get you 22-13. Like that's what you got to be, and that's where you have to be, and that's where he has to live. You don't give a guy a contract and bring him back from not being a pacer and say, yeah, you're worth this, and you not produce the way we think you should in these moments.
Or just
I
rebound.
agree with that.
Yeah.
You got Kevin Durant and Devin Booker.
Here's where the Clippers have the advantage, and we've talked about this, how deep they are. The Suns starters were plus on the floor. The Suns bench was every single player was minus and a plus minus on the floor. Every single, like Shamet minus 14, Landale minus 8, Wainwright minus 12, Okogie minus 10, Biyombo minus 11. So like you counteracted what your starters are doing, and the Clippers, every starter for the Clippers was minus except for Kawhi. And then you look at the Clippers bench, man, plus 13, Powell plus 11, Plumlee plus 16, Bones plus 13. I mean, when those second units were in, that's where the game changed. And Phoenix is going to have to figure that out real fast.
Yeah, not to mention, I mean, Eric Gordon's filling in for Paul George right now, and he was great.
Yeah. So here's
Gordon
my
was
question.
good.
Here's my question is that is Phoenix deep enough to win?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm
you
not
think
counting
it's
them out.
They are. I just think their bench got outplayed
Yeah.
okay?
by Clippers bench.
Gotcha.
But I will tell you the thing that makes playoff basketball so great is down the stretch of that game, Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant were both guarding each other.
That was
And
fun.
that was real fun. And even Booker played defensively, was out of his mind. That's the best I've probably seen Booker play defensively. But like Westbrook took it up even a bigger notch than that.
Yeah.
Westbrook was all over the place on defense.
Yeah, he was. I think the motor was really helpful there. I still think Phoenix wins this series. I just think with those guys that we named, I just think they're just going to find a way to put it together. And if they don't, then I fear what life is going to be like when those guys have a training camp together and they go back out in October, because they're going to take it personal. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you guys want to do Lakers Grizz, or you want to go and do Kings Warriors?
Let's do Lakers Grizz.
I think
Lakers Grizz.
Let's do Lakers Grizz.
Okay.
Because I think that series might be over too.
I don't. I understand losing John Morant sucks a lot, and I understand he's a huge part of their team. But Tyus Jones isn't bad at all.
Mhm.
And, don't get me wrong. If Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura do what they did in that game,
Yeah, it's a wrap.
oh my God.
If they play that well
Come on.
every
Did
night,
did any of
that's
us
a wrap.
expect that? Did we any of us expect that?
Guys.
Austin Reeves a little bit. Roy Hachimura, never in a million years. I never in a million years would have thought that was coming from
But
Roy
did
Hachimura.
you you expect Austin Reeves down the stretch to do that? And like
not down the
Davis
stretch.
and
No,
LeBron to take a
No.
back seat.
Yeah, not for those two to take a back seat.
And then the yelling to the camera that I'm him.
That was awesome. Not only that, the shot before that, he hits that one shot before and he just screams like he's Ken Shamrock, where he's like, "Ah!" And I'm like, I love this guy. Like, absolutely love him. He has become inexpendable. He must be a Laker next year.
They'll let him go. They'll let him go.
They cannot let him walk.
They can't.
Absolutely cannot.
If they let him go, LeBron might as well just leave.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna let him walk. It just
So
feels
is he
like something
LeBron?
they'll
So
do.
I was gonna say, so is he a LeBron guy now? Like, is he LeBron protected? Ain't no way he's going nowhere. He got that LeBron coat of armor. He got that LeBron coat of armor. He ain't going nowhere.
I don't know if I buy that, honestly.
They have 4 guys that are currently on the team that are on salary for next year: LeBron, Davis, Jared Vanderbilt, and Max Christie.
That's it.
If you can't bring back Jalen Joe Russell and Austin Reeves, then you need to figure something to F out. I think Rui. I'm sorry, I take that back. Rui. I think Rui had
He's
a 2-year
locked in.
deal when they traded for him.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
I don't think Rui's gonna have another game like that though.
no, I don't either, and that's why I don't think the
no,
series is
no.
over.
Yeah.
I think Jaren Jackson. Like I said, I think Tyus Jones is really good, but if Ja does not come back, then this is a wrap. But I do think Tyus Jones is good enough to keep them in a game or two.
Yeah.
I give, like Josh said, like with what Reeves and stuff did, like that's the other thing that's really a plus for the Lakers. It's for the first time, like, I don't know, in 20 years, we're not sitting here talking about how LeBron had to do all this stuff in the fourth quarter to put a team on his back to win a game in the playoffs. It was
Yeah.
more just like, he was like passing the ball to Austin Reeves. Like, you got this, kid. I'm good. Like, that was awesome.
Yeah, which is wild.
I got to say too, I knew, so Davis gets hurt, and of course we're all like, here we go again. And the players are even
man.
we don't know if he's coming back. The fact that he went out there with and played hard still and was like busting his ass, like I was really proud. I was really impressed with that.
I'm going to be like
he's tired
the
of
one
hearing
guy
shit.
that I have to stick up for Anthony Davis because I get that he gets hurt all the time, but
Yeah.
like even the games where people are like, man, he's soft, like he doesn't play well. Like look at his stat lines. Like when it's all said and
know.
done.
Yeah.
Like the other day, he was like 24 and 14, and people were like, "Oh, Anthony Davis didn't show up." I'm like, "What?"
I know.
No, he's a
And
beast
I
when
don't-
he's out there.
And then and I hate that like people look at basketball and like all they care about is like the stat line of like how many points did a guy score. And I'm like, do you not see the presence that this guy has on the floor defensively and like how he changed? Like, yeah, Jaren Jackson Jr. might have won Defensive Player of the Year, but he's not a better defensive player than Anthony Davis. Like, you're not going to tell me that. Like, I don't care what he did this year. I don't care that they stat padded his stats at home, to make it look like he was better than what he was. Like, Anthony Davis was better on the floor defensively than Jaren Jackson Jr. was in game 1.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. And when people say that stuff, like he was really, really good the first half. He didn't have to be Anthony Davis in the second half. Like we
Right.
talked about, Reeves, Rui, and D'Lo, they handled their business. Especially considering how bad D'Lo was in the play-in game. To turn around and play the way he did in game 1 was really, really impressive. And I think that, if you're going to have more of these games where you can have LeBron preserve his energy, like if they win tomorrow and they're up 2-0 and they go back to the crypt and LeBron is like not exhausted, holy crap, how much that changes everything. If they go down 2-0, you bet your ass Ja Morant's back for game 3. There's no way.
Have they said?
I seen an interview with him today.
Game 2?
I saw an interview with him today, and they asked him what his pain, what the pain
I saw
number
that.
was in his hand, and he said it was 10. He's like, it's 10 right now. He's like, I'm not even using it.
They said he couldn't roll, he couldn't take a sock out of like a ball of socks. He couldn't take the top off it. That's how much his hand was hurting.
So no, I don't even know what he did actually.
Well,
his fingers got caught, dude. Like when he fell, like his fingers.
No.
He
I'm
did it.
saying, like I don't know what they're actually saying is wrong with his hand. Like,
but he did it a couple weeks ago in one of their last like regular season games, and then he landed on it the other day. I think it just compounded into the fact that what he did.
I do find it silly that people were trying to say it was a dirty play on Anthony Davis's end. Like, I don't know what else he could have done defensively in that play.
Can I say something?
Yeah, like they're like taking a charge. You sent that tape.
I'm getting pissed. Yeah, I'm getting pissed about people being mad about taking charges. Like there were 3 charges taken last night in that game that changed the momentum of the game. Like you can't take away the charge. What kind of people that is one of the very few things defensively that you can do to help swing momentum for your team. I mean, block a shot and take a charge or get a steal. Like the impact that a charge can have, especially when a team has momentum, they're scoring, they're getting downhill, and you slide over and take a charge. Like that's just basketball. Like why?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It just irritates me. People are like, "Oh, it's dumb." People are getting hurt. I'm like, it just so happened that those 2 guys got hurt. Charges have been around for 20 years, 30 years.
That play specifically, if he jumps, right, he gets a foul on him, or maybe they both get hurt at that point, or maybe Ja somehow dunks on him. I don't know, but like. He was in the right position. He said, "Hey, if I stand here," and the way Ja was coming to the rack, full head of steam. At that point, what do? Right? You get out of the way. You let him olay and let him have the basket,
right?
Because then they're going to tell him he's soft and he should have tried to block it, or so. Like that's what I'm saying with Anthony Davis, man. Like it doesn't matter what this guy does.
There's no winning.
He doesn't win. Like he's shooting the best he's ever shot from the field this year. He's had a career high in rebounds this year, and they're talking about how he doesn't do enough. And I just don't get it. I really don't get it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Complete defensive identity of that team.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, they when they were 5th in the league in defense after the trade deadline.
Yeah,
he was the anchor.
Yeah.
Give LeBron credit. He was awesome defensively in game 1. Oh my God. That was the best I've seen him play defense in a long time. I do think the Lakers win the series, but if they're without Ja, you're then without Steven Adams, Brandon Clark, and Ja Morant. That is just really, really tough.
I really hate when injuries take a toll on a series, man.
I do too.
Like when you're like, we don't know what's going to happen because these guys aren't playing.
Right. And to go back to what you were saying earlier, like the 4 of us are with you. Like we 1,000,000%, guys, we all want to see Ja Morant on the basketball court. No one wants to have a situation where he's not, but you can't blame Anthony Davis for a basketball move there is what we're trying to get at. That's just kind of how it worked out.
Yep. Why ain't Kevin Love getting the same treatment? He leads the league in like charges taken.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Giannis
he had like 3 or 4 of them in the same game.
Yeah, Giannis got hurt when Kevin Love was guarding him. Like,
mm-hmm.
All right. So, boys, let's get to what you guys have been really excited to talk about for a few days now, because this is awesome.
Yeah, yes, it is.
I'm going to start this segment out real quick with an apology to Kings fans. When I was definitely one of the, you guys need to move your franchise, but seeing those fans outside the arena was awesome. It was so cool. And there's just like seeing all of them just have all that energy and packing to the rafters. Like, I take it back. You guys absolutely deserve this. This is so cool. Your fan base deserves every moment of this.
Bro, is there anything cooler than lighting a beam, dude? That's
oh my God,
so
it rules.
Awesome.
That's so sick.
Is this a new tradition, or have they always done this?
I believe it's new.
It's new.
Okay, this is new.
Yeah.
This is a great way to draw people in, and I have never seen. Well, I mean, I a couple times, but that fan base the other night. Oh my God,
they're great. The whole game.
Oh my God, yeah. They deserve this, and I'm telling you, man. If we end up getting a Kings Lakers matchup in this next round, ooh, buddy.
So I want to be the first one to say this before we start getting into the series, is that I don't think the Kings have a better team than the Warriors do. I think top to bottom, I think the Warriors are a better basketball team. I think they're on paper, they're better. I think the credit has to go to Mike Brown specifically.
I agree.
Yep.
And his sub patterns, when he's calling timeouts, the adjustments that he's making, to be able to go in these games with Sabonis not being 100%, giving De'Aaron Fox the green light to just take over games when he wants to.
Malik freaking Monk.
Monk.
Yeah. So here's my question though. Like, what if you're looking at the two teams and the two rosters, what makes Golden State better?
I just think when you look, like, especially their starting five. I mean, when you go player for player, even though like Fox is coming up, like I still can't give Fox credit of being better than Steph Curry, right?
Oh no.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Malik Monk is not better than
it,
Klay Thompson. He's had a couple hot games. Depending on where you want to put Sabonis, if you put him at center or you put him at power forward, you could say he's probably better than Looney. You look at Wiggins and you look at Barnes. I would probably give the edge to Barnes. But the problem is that, again, we've said this all year. The Kings have been cohesive. They've played as a team all year. They've been able to go through some woes. They've been able to figure things out. And the Warriors just got Wiggins back 2 games ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, they're still trying to figure this stuff out. And we always say this, like, you can't go into the playoffs and just think that everything's just automatically going to click. So I don't know if there's time for the Warriors to fix this, but I know the Kings right now, boy, they are clicking, and it is scary. And
yeah,
Sean from day one has been all about the Kings, and we've kind of rode his back a little bit and say, yeah, they're going to be a fun team to watch, but I think they've exceeded all expectation of where they are right now and what we thought they were going to be.
No, I would agree with that. They remind me a lot of the younger Golden State teams. Getting up the floor, being able to run the floor, two guards that can control the pace, 2 guards that play well off the ball, with the ball. They have a great bench with guys that come in, a bunch of role players that play well, and an all-star in Sabonis that can do different things and give you different looks. I really love how this team plays. But Josh, you made just the ultimate point. Mike Brown is a flipping game changer, dude. He's a game changer. That guy, like he was already, I mean, it helps that he was with Golden State and on that staff, but with his experience, a guy that has that experience, has been with Golden State, he's coached LeBron, he's done all these different things, man. And you can see he has catered his style, a perfect style for this Sacramento team, for them to have success. It's really cool.
He was there. I mean, he was there for all 4 championships with the Warriors, right?
And he coached Kobe Bryant for a little bit.
He coached Cleveland in the finals when they played the Spurs. So it's not like he does it. Like him specifically has the experience that a lot of coaches don't have going into the playoffs like this. Like he's been in pretty much every scenario you could ever think of. I mean, even to the point where he had to take over for Steve Kerr when he got, sick. So
yeah.
I want to read Jason's question real quick, guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. Jason List is hanging out. First off, thanks for listening and hanging out, Jason. We appreciate you. He asked, the Warriors have a lot of talent, but do you think the Warriors can keep up in the track meet the Kings hold every game? And I think that's been such an advantage for them. Is De'Aaron Fox has always been really fast, obviously, but he's learned to control his speed on a basketball court and just like control his body, control the way he's moving. And that's been such a difference in the series. And the way he's just able to attack the rim with how fast he is, I think has really just dictated a lot for the Kings. You mentioned Malik Monk, who has done a lot of the same stuff as far as getting to his spots and his abilities there. I think that the athleticism just really jumps out. And, look, we all love the Warriors and we love everything they've done, but they're kind of old now, right? This isn't a knock on them, but they're obviously, the Lakers are kind of old too. Actually, not anymore. But, Draymond, Clay, Steph, those guys are up there in the age group now. And you see these young guys. Keegan Murray, Sabonis, Kevin Huerter, De'Aaron Fox,
Trey Lyles,
Davion Mitchell.
Yep.
Like they're young dudes who are really athletic. They're really long. Like you guys said, like I just, to answer Jason's question, I really don't think if it comes to a situation like that where Sabonis pulls down a rebound, they push the ball, I don't know if the Warriors have the speed to get back with them.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that their youth and exuberance and the way that they run their offense has really put Golden State in a bind because as much as you're doing offensively, as far as like you being able to move the ball and all the different things, you have to turn around and defend that for 48 minutes. So it's funny. It's difficult.
It's funny that we're talking about this because as we speak, Golden State plays with the fastest pace in the NBA, and Sacramento is second. So technically, on paper, I know it might not look like that, but on paper, Golden State plays the fastest basketball in the league.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's like Sacramento's beating them at their own game.
Yep.
But speed is way different. Pace is way different defensively.
The two highest scoring teams in the league is Sacramento's number 1 and Golden State is number 2. But that's like a 2-point difference. That's a lot in the NBA. When you jump from 1 to 2 and it's 2 points. You're averaging 120.7 points per game. I think Golden State's at like 118.9. Like that's a lot.
Yeah.
So
Josh, I know you brought this up when we talked about the other series, but a great point is bench production. So we're talking about the plus minus of the Sacramento Kings bench. Lyles +2, Lynn +7, Mitchell +2. Davis was the only one who was a -1, and Malik Monk +5. You look at the Warriors bench, Kuminga -10, Green -1, Peyton II -1, DiVincenzo -13, Poole -4, and the only one in the positive on the bench was Moody, was a +1. It pays dividends, man. It's crazy, but it does.
But what won the championship for the Warriors last year, besides obviously Steph playing out of his mind, was they had guys on the bench that could come in, Otto Porter Juniors and guys like that gave them quality minutes. They could hit daggers when you least expected. They don't have those guys right now. Jordan Poole is supposed to be that guy, and he's not.
Yes, he is.
Agreed.
Yeah, he has pooped the bed.
He did.
The last couple of games.
Bed.
I mean, well,
he can go swim in that Jordan pool.
And the problem is, they sign him for this contract, and I mean, he's a defensive liability every time you put him on the floor, on top of everything. And also, he just hasn't elevated from last year. Like, he has not elevated his game. And this is the guy, this is like your successor. Like, you bring him on, you did the homegrown thing with him, and you hope he's going to grow in, because there were times last year where there were games where like him and Steph looked just like a mere match made in heaven.
Like absolutely.
They were perfect together, and I don't know what happened over this year that has changed with him, but he's, besides getting smacked by Draymond at the beginning of the season, but
there's that.
Money can change a man. You know what I mean?
Well, we're at a point here. We're getting to a point where this is going to be, we're getting towards the end of the run with this team. I mean, they've been on this run for 10 years, which is they're legendary. Those guys are absolute studs.
Absolutely.
They will go down in NBA history groups as one of the greatest, dynasties of all time. They're a phenomenal group of guys. They changed the game. But like you guys said, Otto Porter, like, those are guys that you missed. These are guys that you paid for last year, and they don't have that. They brought back Gary Payton Jr. He got hurt. He was hurt when they brought him back.
I was gonna say there was that whole weird thing with the physical.
That whole weird thing. Yeah. And on top of that, your young guys have not developed the way that you wanted either. You don't, like, Kuminga I really like Kuminga. I want to go ahead and say that. I like Kuminga a lot. But he has not developed as quickly as they've wanted. Same thing with Moody. And then you trade James Wiseman. And I feel like James Wiseman, if they would have kind of kept building him up, might might be a nice piece to have right now, to some minutes to burn for you defensively. But I don't know, man. The Sacramento Kings are just playing absolutely out of their mind right now. And can you believe we were like talking about De'Aaron Fox trade rumors like a year ago? Like there was even a rumor like that Ben Simmons was going to get traded for him.
Yeah, I remember that
at one point. And there were so many times where his name came up and they just kept him and they stayed the course and they got themselves a good coach and they got himself a good running mate with Sabonis. Like they've done everything that they're supposed to do. And if they win this series, it's well-deserved.
Yeah, I think like when Sean and I in the offseason were talking about the Kings, like they could make the playoffs. Their roster is this good. I didn't think they'd be like this. I didn't think they'd be 3-seed home court advantage. I just was like, oh yeah, they'll be pretty competitive.
Now again, though, I'm not going to count the Warriors out until they're out.
Yeah, they got to play at home still, and that's where they're really good. So
they're really good at home.
And like I just feel like they've not had time to gel. Like you said, you brought back Peyton, you got back Wiggins, and I do feel like their rotation is good enough to beat those Kings. I don't feel like they've had enough time with that rotation, and I don't know if a 7-game series is long enough for them to be able to fix all that. Now, have they gotten Wiggins back? 10 games left in the season, and they got to work some stuff out, and then I think they would have been fine. But like they're kind of like on the fly right now.
Yeah,
it's not like you got Kevin Durant and you can just plug him in and be like, "Hey, we need a guy," and we're like, "Hey, I'm that guy," and we're like, "Okay, let's go."
I think too. One thing to really kind of take into play, and I know it doesn't mean as much to people, but we can talk about this a lot. Is like Sean said, this run's coming to an end, whether it's this off season or a couple years from now. But this coaching staff is also going separate places all the time. You know what I mean? So obviously Mike Brown is coaching against them right now. We have a situation where Kenny Atkinson is going to be interviewing for jobs again. Something tells me he's not going to change his mind last minute this time around.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean? You can only do that so many times. What was the text message? I missed it. I have to find it now.
You don't want to read it.
So Ben just sent us a text message
from NBA Central.
From NBA Central, which obviously is, take it for what it is. According to New York Post, Ben Simmons has been attacking rehab, has been engaged. There's a lot of belief in him to be able to return to his all-star form.
I wonder who wrote that. Do you think it was Ben Simmons?
Reported by Ben Simmons.
Because you know it wasn't
Sen Bimmons.
Sim Bimmons on the report. Sim Bimmons on the report.
Come on. That dude never plays another NBA game. It's not happening. No one's gonna take it. Like everybody is soured on him so bad. Like we've talked about it before. Untradeable contracts. There's not such a thing. I really truly believe that he is an untradeable contract because everybody knows what you're getting. You're getting a lemon, and he's like, "Hi, I'm a lemon," and you're like, "Yeah,
we know."
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, before we get out of here, I want to make a couple shout outs real quick. Some things you guys should really listen to as NBA fans if you haven't already. One, last week, we always give JJ Redick his flowers. Old Man in the 3 with J.R. Smith. I don't know if you guys listen to it or not. Really great. Really, really good interview. Just absolutely awesome. A lot of great stuff they talk about. They talk about, of course, the Cavs championship run and get into a lot of really good details about like his life and stuff. It's awesome. And then I'm going to give shout out to my guys over at Knuckleheads. Darius Miles and Q Rich had Markelle Fultz on today's episode.
Nice.
Fantastic. I'm so happy that my Markelle Fultz stock I've held on to all this time is starting to blemish. It's starting to bloom, and I'm really happy for that kid. I'm glad he's playing well. I'm glad his mom took his security cameras out of his house. Congrats to him on that.
Right.
I can change a man. So as NBA fans, every episode of Old Man in the 3 is tremendous, but that was just really, really good. And if you see the clips, watch them. If you get a chance to listen to the whole episode, do that too. So it's great. But I will say that our time tonight has come to an end, my friends. Tonight was really fun. I really excited that we're talking playoff basketball. Keep an eye out for things coming up. I know we have a lot of conversations going on. I know we're working on the next episode of Prince of Hoop with Trenton Flowers. Get his thoughts on the playoffs. That's going to be happening soon. Yeah, I know Josh is stoked. I gotta.
Man, I'm so you guys don't even. I can't even wait for college basketball this year.
Yeah, you're more excited about college basketball than I am for this year, and that's like my bread and butter these days, unintentionally, but it ended up being that way. Take a minute if you can, as always, whether your podcast app of choice that you're listening to subscribe if you haven't already. If you're watching us on YouTube, please take a second to subscribe if you haven't. It goes a long way for us. And of course, if you want to support the brand, check us out at 40minutesbasketballnetwork.merchmake.com and get some sweet swag. On behalf of Ben, Sean, and Josh, this is Tim Daniel. Have a good night, and we'll talk soon.